here we go. Hey everybody, we are going live, YouTube, Facebook. Feel free to comment here, say where you're where you're hailing from, what's up with you. Our show today is Life is a Contact Sport. How are you connecting? We're going to talk about all kinds of fun things. My good friend Shireen is here. Say hello, Shireen.
Well, hello, everyone. Can't wait to get in contact with you. Too cheesy? I don't know.
Yeah, that was pretty cheesy, but it's all right. We can cheese it out here.
Good. Thank you.
All right, cool. Hey, Mario. Good to hear from you. Thanks for commenting in. It helps us to know that we are working, that the stream is working if you comment. So, Facebookers, send something, please, or I might have to. Yeah, all right. We actually have Facebook and YouTube working right out of the box. That's fantastic.
That's so awesome. I don't think that's ever happened before. Like, no. I know you don't like when I say stuff like that.
No, I said it too. I said no. I declared it too. Murphy's Law is descending upon us now. Yeah, we are from the future. All right. Hi, Jesse. Hey, Mario. Hi, Elaine. Peace from Germany. I like it, Grandmaster Smile. That's a great name. All right. So, Shireen, why don't you take it away, because you had the brainchild for this one. So, give it. Yeah, say what inspired this for you.
Totally. Well, I just first want to thank everyone for being with us, because this whole premise of life as a contact sport really is like, we need to stay connected. We need to be in contact. Can you read the quote that you found on Reddit, Garrett? Because it was so perfect.
Yeah, it was just like, life is a contact sport, and the more people you connect with, like, the better your life is. That's basically the quote. You know, that's how you that's how you win at the sport of life, is through those contacts, through those connections. So
exactly. Catherine is very excited you're back. She says, "Yay, he's back!"
Well, yeah, I went into hibernation for a little while. Yeah, there was just like so many like technical glitches, and then I was called into Garrett Schmerritt mode. Garrett Schmerritt mode is like, that's my alter ego, where I just geek out on technology stuff, and that's where I've been for like 3 weeks straight now, plus that and a cold. And so, and I happen to prefer to be in Garrett Schmerritt mode when I'm not feeling well. So that's where I was. Schmerritting out. Yeah.
That worked out. Yes,
hey, from Mexico. Hey, that's great.
There you go. And, yes, he says, "Oh my God, I have that book," which I didn't know this was a book, but thank you for letting me know that. But basically, you know, I think staying connected is where the money's at. Like, I just feel like that is what, I mean, I've geeked out on what makes people happy, and there's like documentaries on Netflix and here and there, and I watch them all because it's my thing. And always connection to not only your own personal relationships, but also even just like your community and society. And even if you do like recreational sport leagues, like these kinds of things actually have a shockingly high impact on how happy we are. So I don't know, man. I just think connection's where it's at. I recently in my life have been reconnecting with some old friends, and it has created opportunities and fun and spiced up my life. It can sometimes feel like Groundhog Day because I'm a mom. So, you know, it's just been really good.
Yeah. I think so a couple things about connection and contact. First off, when they were trying to figure out what caused mass shootings, especially school shootings, at Columbine had just happened, there was commissioned by the U.S. government a national longitudinal study on every measurable factor that one could measure about students in schools, and to look for anything that could predict that a student would engage in some sort of violence, especially mass shootings or some sort of violence against many. And they went through everything. They went through income, culture, whether the parents were together, what their income was relative to the income of the rest of the community, what their grades were, how smart they were, whether they were male, female. I mean, I think they just went through everything. And there was virtually nothing that predicted whether someone would become a shooter, and except for one thing, and that one thing was connectedness. If the child reported not feeling connected to their community, and or the community reported not feeling connected to the child, that was a high risk indicator that that child would likely perform some form of violence to themselves or others. So,
Yeah.
and that's not just about children, that's about everybody, because even like your cells are designed to commit suicide if they're not connected to other cells like them. So if a heart cell finds itself amongst liver cells, it will kill itself. It won't replicate. It will just die of its own accord. And the reason cells are sort of programmed to do this is because otherwise they would be, they'd be tumors. And so down to the cellular level, we are designed to connect. And when we're connecting with those that we have affinity with, we feel great, we feel alive, we feel happy, things work for us, life is grand. And when we are isolated, that is when the trouble begins. And so if you know anybody in your life that is isolated, in your community, that you say, that person, that kid just doesn't seem to have any friends, doesn't seem connected to anyone, seems very isolated, you can be a guardian angel for that person and for your community by finding ways to reconnect them with you or other people in your community so that they feel alive in a positive way again and don't go into that negative spiral of self-destruction and resentment, which can cause mass destruction, school shootings, and mass violence.
Honestly, this is so crazy because I remember you mentioned this like ages ago, the thing about the cell and how it's like wired to kill itself off. And I was all like super mind blown when you said that, because I was like, man, I really like when something deeply tragic and I guess dysfunctional is explained. Like I like, my brain is like, why does this happen? It's so terrible. So I felt like you helped me understand. I was like, oh, okay. So now once you understand causing something deeply dark and dysfunctional in your life, in the world, in your cells, whatever, then you're sort of empowered with the information you need to resolve it or solve it. And that gets me really happy because I just want everyone to be happy. Like, call me a cliche, like just freaking positive Patty over here, but it pains me that so much tragedy happens in the world. I just feel like it could be avoided if we had information like this and just actively went after it to create those connections or create that sense of community that people desperately need to feel like they don't want to go shoot somebody up,
Mm-hmm. As Catherine brings up, what if we literally have stopped caring if we belong? I kind of can't claim caring anymore. I just got stuff to do. So there's a couple factors there. One is if you're an introvert, your kind of connection is likely to be deep, intimate connections with a few people. That's just how introverts prefer to connect. And you could even have a deep, soulful connection with the divine. So like the monk at the top of the mountain in isolation, deeply connected with the divine spirit, is still someone who's connected. Or you might be deeply connected with your work and you're really in this passionate place about the work you are doing and you feel deeply connected. So only you can know how deeply connected you feel in your life. But as soon as you start to feel disconnected, alienated, resentful, rejected, like that is where, those are the red flags. Those are the danger signs. If you feel like you hate your work, if you feel like you hate your community, if you feel like you hate life, hate is sort of the antithesis of connection. It's like if you feel hate, you're feeling disconnection. If you feel love, you're feeling connection. So if you love your work, you're feeling connection. If you hate your work, you're feeling disconnection. So really, ultimately, this doesn't have to be a prescription to go out and be an extrovert. Extroverts love to connect with lots of people, maybe even at a shallow level, but that's how they feel connected. So we all have our different ways. The ultimate is the connection is the essential truth, not necessarily how many or with what people you're feeling connected with. It could be with work or your spirituality, the divine essence of love, some kind of passion of yours, so your art. Okay, I'm going to read this comment, Shireen, while you chime in.
I mean, well, actually, I was reading, is it Gabriella's that you're looking at? Because that's what I was looking at.
Yeah, throw it in because I haven't read it yet.
So she says, my son was raised in Ohio and San Diego, and he developed anxiety, depression, and suicidal emotions. 3 years ago, I decided to move back to my hometown, Tijuana, Mexico, and slowly we developed a community. The culture here is vibrant, connected. It's almost like hard to be isolated in day-to-day life, and he's slowly healing and curing his depression. That is like a perfect example, thank you, Gabriella, of what we're talking about. It's so important. Like just that simple thing. Like this morning I was driving my kids to school and we're driving and I see this like nice little lady that I know that walks her dog, and I roll down the window. I say, hi, Miss Tina. I'm like, Maya, look, it's Miss Tina. And like there was just something about that. I was so happy that we knew somebody, and Maya was all excited that we saw her. And in my mind I thought, I'm really glad we live in a community where people walk and there's dogs and it's just sort of like everyone's close. Like we definitely are close. We don't have a lot of space around us. I just feel like that's just one of those things where you don't realize what an impact it makes. But once you look at the statistics and the studies and the documentaries, you realize, holy crap, it's hugely important to be able to just see people in my community and connect, you know?
Yeah, I love what you said there, because it's like you could have just been busy in your own head or checking your texts or whatever, just in a disconnected way, absorbed, self-absorbed, and you wouldn't have seen that opportunity or cared to see that opportunity or cared to do anything with that opportunity, even if you did see it, of you like shouting out your window and saying hi in a really friendly, fun way. And yet that one impulse to do that and following through on that impulse is like working a miracle, because you brighten your day, you brighten your child's day, you brighten Miss Tina, is that her name? I didn't catch. Yeah, like you brightened her day, you brightened everyone's day who witnessed it, because it just seemed like fun and lovely, and like that is the juice of life, and that is like the contagious spark of connection, because you made like this big beautiful connection out of what could have just been like a nod or a casual wave or totally ignoring her, you know? So that's awesome. What other comments we got? Because I'm missing them.
Well, we do have, oh, it just went away. Monopoly. Yeah. He's basically saying that your videos gave him hope and took him on a spiritual journey he couldn't imagine. And so he said, I thank you for that, inspiring millions around the world. Right? Don't we love us some Garrett? Ooh, Garrett.
On a good day when I'm not being Garrett Schmerett.
I love Schmerett too. I just like to make fun of him more than I like to.
Yeah. He got picked on a lot as a child.
Did he? Poor guy.
No, only when I was schmerting. No, I don't think I actually did get picked on that much. Actually, I did. I got picked on as like a rite of passage every time we moved. So this again kind of plays into the connection, not connection thing. So, you know, when you're the new kid, like other kids will just naturally challenge you just to kind of see what, you know, test your mettle, see what kind of person you are, even if it's just out of curiosity. So I moved a lot as a kid. I was in Switzerland, Australia, in and out of my hometown of Concord now. And my brother was too, and he was in and out of Singapore, and he had a real rough time when he got transplanted from Concord to Singapore. And the sort of the common factor is kids are just kind of mean. Maybe they don't mean to be mean, or maybe they don't have any self-awareness that like they're actually, maybe they just like, I mean, maybe they're just more raw as people, and maybe people do have this sort of inherent, excuse me, primal aggression that comes out like as, you know, in more sophisticated ways as you get older, where you still are kind of being dismissive or, I don't know how to say it, disconnected from people. But like when you're young, you really feel it. You come into the school, you know, it's second or third grade or kindergarten. I remember my first day in kindergarten, I just moved to Australia. I had just spent 3 years of my life in Switzerland, and like I'm used to just speaking French. Like all the kids used to speak French in Switzerland, and I come into Australia, and so I had a funny accent. And this one kid who's like a second grader, I'm a kindergartner. This one kid is like a second grader, starts like kind of getting in my face and making fun of my accent. And so I just popped him one in the nose. So I committed violence right there. Boom. Banged him in the nose. He was bleeding everywhere. This is everybody's first impression of me. Wow. And that, why did I do it? Because I felt the disconnection deep inside. And I'd been taught by my dad that like if somebody bullies you or makes you feel bad, that you pop them in the nose. That's what I did. So.
Oh, Garrett, you little violent kid.
I know. I really was. I didn't.
Was that Schmerit or was that Garrett? I mean,
see, at that time, Garrett and Schmerit were like. No, actually, that was probably more just like the real Garrett. I mean, it was the real Garrett feeling disconnected, you know, like I had no fear, you know, so it's like, and I wasn't like introverted at all about punching the kid in the nose, you know. Garrett Schmerit would be much more of an introvert. And then like the real Garrett is much more of an extrovert. I'm trying to like keep track of these comments and people, if you, oh my God, boom. Like, you know, I don't know how we really are going to need somebody who's just like kind of like reading, like the highlights of the comments as we're doing this show.
But you know what? It's on this comment from Andrea is on Facebook. And so they don't go away as fast on Facebook. So I can read this one.
Okay, cool. So what do we got? What's important?
Oh, okay. So Andrea, I'm not sure. I'm just going to say Andrea says, hello, I'm a guy from Roma. I'm very fond of what you do because it made me open my heart and my mind. Where I live, I'm creating, it looks like I'm doing extraordinary things. For example, I discovered I could manipulate the wind with my inner speech. Oh, he says, it's difficult to explain. Maybe you could help me explain. Seems to be in contact with either, but is heartbreaking. Everyone feels what I think, especially when a plane leaves. Because here there's an airport. Anyway, he wants your opinion, basically.
So he's saying that he feels like he affects the wind with his thoughts. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I have experienced the same phenomenon. I tend to experience it when I am in a state of prayer, grace, frisson, where I'm connecting to a higher power, when I'm connecting to my concept of God, the divine. Mm-hmm. And when I do that, and it's like I've really made that connection, I will feel like the wind will pick up and I'll just kind of like feel it coming. Like first I feel it in me and then the wind comes and he's like, whoa, like this is so weird because like it was a perfectly still day and then all of a sudden, like in this majestic, glorious moment of feeling connection, the wind picks up and like just affirms it with a physical, like something. It's just like so powerful. And then in the movies, you see this as like the wizard is able to conjure the wind, you know, when they are like really connected and they can like circle the clouds above them and like create thunder and lightning. And it's like there is something about being able to affect the weather with your mind, or at least being so connected with your environment that some subliminal part of you senses it coming on and trips into this, you know, higher state and then feels like you're part of it. So I deeply agree that this is some part of the human condition or the human experience, that there is like, I don't know, almost like the ability to conjure wind or, you know, powerful synchronistic events in your life by moving through a deep kind of connection. So, yeah. Now, can you force that to happen? I think the moment you're like, dude, I can control the wind, watch this, it's not going to happen. I think it really is like a gift of the gods. It's like a gift of grace that's given to you when you are really deeply connected and surrendered. And then I think what happens is when you're deeply connected and surrendered, that is a moment where your thoughts reflect the greater mind, like the thoughts of the great mind, the thoughts of the Mother Nature or the divine or God, the Father, the Heavenly Father, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter what you call it. It just matters that you called it. And now that you've called it in, these divine thoughts are filling your little mind. And your little mind is now thinking, I'd like wind, because the divine mind has already thought that. And then you think it's your thought, but boom, the wind comes and you're like, holy smokes, I asked for the wind and here it is. But maybe it wasn't like the little you that feels like, I don't know, the little egoic you. It's like this greater you that now is thinking thoughts for you.
This is amazing, Garrett. Let us know if that was a helpful response. Andrea, we would love to hear from you.
Yep. Okay, so what else do we got here? I mean, we can just kind of keep riffing, and I know like it's hard for you, Shireen, to keep track of comments and just be your natural self. So feel free to just, you know, cut loose from the comments, and we can keep going.
Well, I mean, I just don't move the wind with my brain. So I didn't make a comment on that. Or maybe I do, but I don't know. See, like, this is where, like, you know, I'm just like this normal Schmerit girl, Shireen Schmerit, and I'm just not as magical in the ways that you and your peeps are. That's, you know.
I disagree. I think you are, because the reason that you wanted to do this particular topic was you just experienced this like very tenuous connection that you had with someone, and you know, you like moving the wind, you move that connection into something much more powerful than you expected. Like it had more, you know, like just reaching out and creating those connections was more powerful than you might have expected. So it's like, you know, wind doesn't have to be physical weather. It can be the wind of social dynamics and people and communities and all that stuff.
Oh, well, if that's wind, then I definitely move the wind with my brain, with my expression.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like if there's one genius I have in the world, it's like relationships and people. Like I like them and they like me and we vibe and we, you know, it's just like all the good, all the goodness, all the goodness.
Yeah. And when you yelled out like, hey, was it hey Tina lady or whatever that is?
Hi,
Tell
Miss
me.
Tina.
Hi, Miss Tina. Like that is moving the wind, because you are moving the wind of people's emotions there. You know, you make this connection and you make it in such a beautiful, delightful, funny way that Miss Tina's emotional weather is changed and your emotional weather is changed, and everybody who witnesses that connection being made, their emotional weather is changed. And so like there is the wind of nature, but then there's the wind of our souls, and that is the greater wind. Is to move that wind, now you're moving human nature, and that is like really cool. Like that, you know, that I think that is such a satisfying ability to have, and we all have it when we have the courage to create those connections.
Well, that is so sweet. Well, now you're speaking my language. When you're talking about all the feels, like I'm doing this collaboration with these other coaches, and they're all like fitness and health coaches, and I'm like, man, I'm just all about the feels. Like all I want to talk about is the feels. All I care about is the feels. So I'm really speaking my language with all the feels.
That's great. Yeah, and feels are so important. And again, that's like the thing that is at the heart of preventing more of these horrible, violent acts of mass shootings, school shootings, and you know, there are so many kids right now that are rising up to walk out of their schools and say we need to you know, disarm the population and create stronger gun laws and all of that. Yeah. And while that may be true, while that may really slow down the violence and prevent a number of horrible tragedies from happening, the greater truth is if somebody is coming from a place where they want to do that, we've already failed. It is already a tragedy. If there is a soul that is so deeply wounded and disconnected and so alienated from their community that they want to perpetrate such an act, that they dream of it, that if they could get a gun, they would do it, we have already lost. We've already created a tragedy. And so to avert that tragedy of the soul, it's like we really do need to do, hey, Miss Tina, to just about everybody that we can conjure a genuine connection with. So it's like you don't want to do that to everybody because then you just look like a freaking lunatic and it really diminishes the value when you do it. There is an essence to genuine heart-to-heart connection that requires spontaneity and what I like to call the miracle impulse. And the miracle impulse is this weird little impulse in you that makes you want to say something or reach out to a stranger or anybody in a particular way that requires courage, and it makes you uncomfortable, and it's not what you would normally do, and it's very spontaneous. And when you trust that miracle impulse, it literally creates this miracle connection between you and other people. It could be one other person, it could be a whole room of people. It doesn't really matter, because once you do sort of birth that miracle through trusting that impulse, no matter what happens, people are moved to a higher level. People are moved to a greater love. People are moved to a greater connection, and that connection is contagious, and that sparks sort of miracle impulses in other people who witness it, and it's like popcorn, and next thing you know, you don't even get to see how that affects possibly millions of people over the course of eternity, because you said, hi, Miss Tina, and like that changed her life, redirected her day a little bit, redirected your day a little bit. The people who witnessed it were redirected. Other people started, Miss Tina might have had like an impulse to say something really kind or loving or fun or friendly to somebody later in the day that then sparked more of those. And it's like this chain reaction that you cause by unleashing that miracle impulse.
I love this. So maybe we can like send all of our peeps watching right now a little challenge. Like maybe today or, in the next couple days, whenever they feel this inspiration coming through, that they bust out their own miracle impulse.
Yeah. Like, do this. Like go and make, go out on a limb for somebody, anybody. And when I say that, I don't mean like go give them your bank account or I'm saying more just like something that if it totally fails, it's not going to devastate you, but like go out on a limb and try to like make that friendly connection that be sort of socially gregarious in a way that if Miss Tina's like, what the fuck, and looked at you like that, you're like, okay, fine, that's her shit. Like I still unleash the miracle, and someday she will receive that. It might be, when she does her life review as she dies, like when everyone, like you say, your whole life passes before your eyes and you see like life through like a lens of clarity. So if you go out on a limb for somebody and sort of like get really friendly and like try to break through that ice that we all carry around, and like really have that heartfelt connection, and if you are rejected during that, do not take it personally. That person's soul at some point in time will become aware of the love that you were offering and giving them, and that they rejected, but they will still receive it at some point. It will still be there waiting in escrow for them. And at the same time, you have now created that good karma that doesn't have to wait in escrow for you. You feel more connected, even if you're rejected, just to be like, yeah, but you know what? That was a good thing to do. And so the more we can kind of go out on a limb and really reach out to people. And one of my favorite things to do at the bars, like I do a lot of work in isolation, when I'm editing video or writing these speeches or whatever, the stuff that you probably caught on to me with, one of these viral videos that have music and me talking and all this footage and whatever, like that's really isolated work. And I tend to be an extrovert and I love to connect with people. So my way of connection is going out to the pubs, after work, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock, whenever, like as soon as I'm done with my work. And I do it frequently enough that I get to know just about everybody in town, or at least anybody who would also be hanging out at one of these bars. And anytime I see somebody kind of sitting there alone, or even, 2 or 3 people that just kind of seem isolated, and there's like a bigger gang of brothers that I have at these bars, it's like, I'm with my gang and like there's somebody sitting over there and they're just kind of like keeping to themselves, I will just, send them a hi, Miss Tina, but I don't know their name, but I'm like, hey, how you doing? And just like introduce them to the people in the group and like kind of create this like, grow the community, grow the connections and break through the ice. And I would say 9 times out of 10, people's spirits get really like lifted by that thing, and not just the people who are isolated, but the people who who are already part of my tribe that I'm introducing them to. It's like everybody like gets this extra joy just by having that connection. And it doesn't just have to be in the bars. It can be like in line at the coffee shop or in the grocery store or wherever. But it's like introducing one person to another, or introducing yourself to a total stranger and introducing a total stranger to your group or whatever activity you're doing, or even just like, talking about the weather or something like that with someone who is a total stranger. Like all of that just creates this buoy effect, at least for extroverts. Now, it could be there's some introverts who are like, dude, leave me the fuck alone. But I don't run into that much, or if I do, I'm completely insensitive to it. So.
Well, and I also think like it's sort of relevant to our time that we're in right now. Just like everyone's, face down, they're all up in their little phone, and it's even more rare, I think, to have that. Like, remember that show Cheers, where everybody knows your name?
Yes.
I feel like one thing that's universal is like whether you're an introvert or extrovert, you want to feel like people know who the hell you are or give a crap. They don't need to be like annoying you and talking to you for 10 hours. Like, if you're an introvert and you want to just like do your own thing, that's fine. But I don't think that means that like you never want to be bothered, Like, I think even like my husband's an introvert. I'm sure he would love it if like he walked into the grocery store and someone was like, hey, Kenny, that he'd probably be like, oh, hey, like, look at me right now. So I don't know. I'm with it. I love that you do that at the pubs, Garrett. Bust out your impulse, miracles of impulse. Is that what you call it?
Miracle impulse. Yeah. And you bring up Cheers. Like, that is exactly what it's become like in my hometown. And it is the most precious thing. Like, we now in my hometown have this tribe of people that basically created a Cheers-like atmosphere in our pubs. It used to be one particular pub that everybody just kind of knew to go to, and we go there every night, and it saved marriages. It healed people. It saved people. People would go there. It was like a family gathering. It got to be like a family gathering, but like a good one, not like a dysfunctional family gathering, but like those family gatherings that just make you feel all warm inside. You walk in, and everyone's just like, hey, Garrett. And then it's like, you're just like hugging people and shaking people's hands and patting people on the back, and people are buying you drinks and you're buying other people drinks. And we would buy each other, and we still do. We buy each other so many drinks that it like confuses the fuck out of the bartenders. Any new bartender who is not used to our tribe, their head is spinning because, like, one guy, Buzz, is buying me a drink, and I'm buying Mussy a drink, and Mussy's buying Rick a drink, and Rick's buying Nat a drink, and it's like, and it's just like, whoa, whose drinks are on whose tab? Because now they got to like serve the drink to the right person, but bill the other person. It drives some people crazy. But once the bartenders kind of, we break them in a little bit, they start to become part of the tribe too. And it's just like this awesome Cheers-like experience where it is like a family gathering. And I think even like Chronicle, one of our local TV stations, did a little documentary on this like uncanny tribe that like had their Cheers, that had basically recreated the Cheers sitcom in their own little spot. I mean, that's us, and you can have that too. I think you just find a place that you're happy to hang out a couple hours every night, every other night or every night, something like that, or every day or wherever it is. And it's like the more you do it, some people do it at their like some people will do it at like their workout place, their gym or whatever, and like it kind of that's another place you could do it. It's maybe a little more healthy than at a bar, but whatever it is, like, just find that spot you like to be and just start making those connections, and those connections grow roots, and they blossom, and it's amazing the result of that, because over time now you develop like this family. And that is so precious, so precious. In fact, I even this week there was a friend of ours from this group, and I caught up with them, and he could tell he needed some help. He was in a really low place, and so it's just like, okay, like let's do the, like, you know. So I'm like, you know, spent time with them, and then dragged him out the next night and called a bunch of our friends and was like, you know, hey, let's hang out. And like, you know, dude goes from really, really down, like super down, like dangerously down, to like, you know, laughing his ass off, back to his old self, really happy, really reconnected. And when I kind of asked him about it, he's like, yeah, you know, I didn't go out for over a week, you know. And I'm like, well, dude, you love people and you love our tribe, and you disconnected for over a week, and your emotions and mental state like really deteriorated from it. So it's like, now, you know, like, stay with your tribe, stay with your safety net. Like, sometimes you need those people in your lives to not, so that the demons don't catch up with you. Or it's like that tribe like shines a light and like shines away the demons, if you will, you know, that love. So, you know, another reason to stay connected.
I love that. I'm coming to Boston. I want to hang out at the pub.
Yeah, oh, you would love it. You would absolutely love it. And they would love you. So it would be great. It would be a great time. Do it. Buy the ticket now.
Say,
Kenny, we're going to Boston. Pack up the kids. Here we come.
It's happening. Yeah, that's awesome, Garrett. Seriously, that's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah.
All right. So I feel like, oh, that's cute. Someone says we could write a book together. Done.
Yeah. Okay, let's do it.
Oh, yes. Albert's asking, what was your initial response when you heard Stephen Hawking had passed?
So the first moment the first message I got about Stephen Hawking passing was a top post on Reddit, was this beautiful piece of artwork done. It said Stephen Hawking, you know, in the title, and it said something like Stephen Hawking right now or something like that. And then the art was this beautiful picture of like someone escaping their wheelchair underwater. Like, so it was like this underwater image with the light at the top of the water, and his body like floating up and towards the light and out of his wheelchair. And I was just like, and I saw that and I was like, wow, you know, what a beautiful thought for Stephen Hawking. And I didn't know he had died. I just thought like, well, that is very much like how I could see like his soul, you know, flying up towards the light as he, you know, when he dies. And then the very next post I read, I was like, oh, did he die? And so, yeah. And so I think for someone who has suffered like he has, you know, with such little physical ability, such massive physical hardship, he was like this light in this light of intelligence in our world that, you know, probably suffered greatly just to stay here. And now I believe in a soul. I believe in the eternity of our souls. I believe in a greater light, a transcendent light. I believe in a life after death. You know, this is one of the things that we got to talking to the other night with some of these people, that, you know, and we were saying, like, one person was saying, I don't believe in any life after death, and I find that liberating. And so there's, you know, two very intelligent people from our tribe. One of the most intelligent people I know who says there's no life after death, or I don't believe in a life after death. He's so intelligent. He says, I don't believe in it, but I'm not saying it's impossible. I just don't know, and I'm not going to hang up my hopes on some afterlife. Whereas I do believe in it, and I believe that Stephen Hawking is in a better place right now for him. I know we will mourn his loss, and I think one of the gifts that we have, one of the reasons to stick around when life gets hard, is to realize that as hard as things may be in your life, the gift of being alive in a body is that you can communicate with other bodies. You can reach out to the people you love and say, hi, Miss Tina. And when you do that, like, Miss Tina can hear you and respond and feel it. But as soon as you're disincarnate, as soon as your soul is released, you might be feeling a hell of a lot better, but your ability to actually communicate that love to your loved ones is severely diminished, because your loved ones are going to be going around being like all sad that you died and feeling the loss of you and not believing that they can still be connected to you and not hearing you when you try to communicate with them. And it's like, that sucks. Like, it would suck so bad to not be able to say I love you to the people I love, to say I love you to my daughter, to say I love you to my son, to my wife, to my parents, to my brother and sister, to people in my community. It's like, that is the greatest gift, is to be able to say I love you with, and it doesn't have to be like the words, it can just be like the action, something that communicates that, whether it's like buying a pint of Ben and Jerry's for someone you love, or taking them to the 7-Eleven, or taking them out for a drink and buying them a drink. It's like, whatever it is, or yelling, "Hi, Miss Tina," like all of those physical actions, I feel like you don't get to do them once you die. And Stephen Hawking was one of those people who couldn't easily go buy someone a drink or yell, "Hi, Miss Tina," but he could inspire our highest cognition with new ways of looking at the universe and new breakthroughs in science and philosophy. And that was like his way of connecting with humanity and connecting humanity with a higher intelligence. So God bless him, and I hope his soul is just reveling in all of the love that's pouring out for him today, and reveling in what a beautiful life he led, and preparing for some new adventure that maybe he gets legs and arms and the ability to yell and, you know, hop around again and make love and all the things that he had to sacrifice to stay in this world for so many years.
That's beautiful, Garrett. Beautifully put. I do want to respond to one comment that's coming through from Michelle. Hi, Michelle. I just want you and your lovely kid to know that we are live and this is real, and we are saying hi to your child. Hi.
Did Michelle say what her kid's name is?
She said, she said, "Can you prove something to my kid? Can you say hello to Callum?" Is it Callum? Yeah.
Hey, Callum.
There you go. Hey, Callum.
Hey, Callum. Yes, we're live.
It's live.
Callum.
Yeah. And then Catherine sounds like she also wants to go visit the pub. She's hilarious. She was like, "Why don't we just stare at his face? Either one is fine."
Come to Concord, Massachusetts. Come to the bars in Concord, Massachusetts proper. You might just find me there. In fact, there's actually a reasonably good chance you will. And if you are coming out to Concord, you can email Garrett at Wayseers.com, Garret at Wayseers.com, and let me know you're coming. And I might say, you know where I'm heading tonight, and I'll let you know. I have been known to do that. I've done that a number of times. My bar buddies find it humorous, so, you know, we're willing to haze you.
Yes. All right, good. So I feel like this is solid. We got the Miracle Impulse Challenge.
Yep.
Please do comment, guys. Let us know if you're up for the Miracle Impulse Challenge in the next, should we give them 24 hours, 48 hours? How long?
Oh, I mean, just take the week. You know, I'd love to hear next week. We're going to do the same time next week. We're going to do another live stream. So it'd be great to hear, you know, through your comments, you know, how the connection experiment is going. And you know, this, every little thing you do, every little connection you make, every little random act of kindness you exercise, every miracle impulse you release into the world, that is a contagious thing. That is like love is an intelligent energy, and it goes on, creating in its own image. It's like, that is what you're doing, is you're releasing this living creature that is love into the world. And that living creature starts off as like, you know, "Hey, Miss Tina." So that's the first expression of the living creature, but that creature then gets into Tina's heart, and Tina then turns that living creature into an expression of her own personality in connection with someone else. And Miss Tina goes and helps someone with their groceries or helps someone across the street, or lends a friendly smile to someone who's not feeling so good, and then that creature escapes her, still stays with her, replicates, so it's like that's the thing, is they're spreading, and and that spawn of Shireen's love is now spread itself, one to parent, child of love, child of the miracle impulse, from one to another. And you can do that too. And it's like, I really think this is the contagious love that can spread around our communities and reach those who are really alone and isolated. And if you see somebody really coming from a low spot, maybe they're coming from a bad place, maybe they are acting badly, something that said, they go, wow, this person is hurting, right? Like a lot of times when someone's acting badly, you're just like, fuck, I just want to get away from them. And, that's a natural first instinct. But if you have the strength, without putting yourself in grave danger, but if you have the strength without putting yourself in danger to rise to that occasion and say, okay, this person is coming from a bad place, but I am going to shine my light. I'm going to turn my love light on. You shine your love light on that person. You look in your heart for what they need. First, you turn your light on. You get connected. Don't do this without being connected yourself. Be coming from a holy, good place. And then say, okay, what does this person need? And you just shower them in love and light, right? And you give them a half an hour, an hour of your time, whatever it is they need. And you bring them up. And the beauty of it is like, the love they feel will be secondhand because you'll feel it first. So that love will fill you and them, and that you might be averting some terrible tragedy just by that simple act of heroic kindness.
There it is. Let us know how it goes, guys. Do your miracle impulse, comment, and we will see you next week.
God bless you.